Kathy Vick, deeply awake, and I'm coming to you from a different location today because it's summertime, and because of that, the temperatures in our home get a little extreme, and sleeping arrangements change. So here I am in a new location, and I may very well. I have my very favorite banner is that of Shiva, and that is directly across from my bed. And it would be really fun to broadcast with Shiva behind me, my main man. But for now, it's Gustav, and there's a very lovely film about Mr. Klimt's work and how he was so messed around with by the Nazis. Very interesting work. Very beautiful. So I have a few things to say, and it's funny because when it comes in fast and furious, then I know that I'm going to be I have to make choices of what I memorialize and what I don't. And boy, oh boy, it's been hard to not sit down and describe this. But it's been coming so fast, and it's so plentiful and meaningful and incremental, so that everything always leads to something more. And so that's the nice part, when you realize that you're riding an avalanche, and if you reached out for a snowball, well, it would be a good representation of what's going on, but perhaps it might behoove you to just ride the avalanche right now. And at the bottom, perhaps you can get a picture, or you can finally catch your breath and figure out how you can describe this mofo. It's kind of been like that. It's very gratifying to me that so many people are watching the new information on New Earth and Ascension. Oh my, oh my, oh my. If there were one video that would be a wonderful one for people to watch, that would be it. Oh my. I'm so glad. And if that doesn't pique curiosity, I don't know what will. So it's wonderful. I was given I was watching the count go up and up and up, and it's the first time ever that that's happened, really. I mean, there'll be a crest with some of this stuff, but it never really catches on, and that one's caught on. It's like, oh my God, it's so great. And they said, yeah, well, here's the deal. It was in the morning time. And they showed me this massive, huge, like, unbelievably huge cable. Like, you know how things are so out of proportion with cruise ships? And you look at that and go, that's just not right. That's just like super mammoth, and it's weirdly big. It was like that. It was that scale. And it was all colors and pretty, and it was like all these wires. A huge cable of wires. And they said, dear one, each essay, each channeling, it was a wire. And you paid attention each and every time. It was the most important thing. It's all that mattered. And you laid it down. And now, look. Why would you doubt? Why would you question that free communication hasn't been established? Of course it's been established. You did it, wire by wire by wire. Fear not and be of good cheer. It's like, aw, why thank you. So that was pretty neato. But what I want to give you, there's two things. They're both really important. They're both altering. But it's very important for you to know just how magical all of this has gotten. And what I've understood about what has happened to me physically. I didn't realize this has all been done. The first Merkaba was activated in '94, and I've been riding around with two. I got two, and it's couched in a third, and I didn't know any of this. One's gold, and one is like a silver platinum thing. And they explain it's about the son of Antares stuff and all this stuff, and it's like it explains the 24 spinning balls in my Merkabic fields. It explains everything, and it was like, what? One's quite enough, thank you. They needed me to have two because they wanted to change the chakras and the grids, which they did, and I've talked about in April of 2016. And it just is really, it's just amazing. All this esoteric information, I don't know what any of it really means. I mean, if it doesn't apply to real life, if it doesn't taste good, spread on toast, I mean, how is it supposed to benefit me again? I don't know. So that's another thing. It's like, yeah, well, look at your pretty Merkaba. Okay, well, what does it do? Well, how about if you just take a look at it? How about if you just goggle at it? How about that? So they'd kind of bring me back to it, and then they would point out the different activation points. And I've been led to certain videos that talk about certain points when I was lifted off the ground, or, you know, other things happened. So that's been a very interesting process to just sort of really physically own this, you know, down deep. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. Because, I mean, I just went around and recorded it and moved on. Recorded it, moved on. It's a little bit more organic when you're writing it. I mean, when we're able to own the experience, I physically feel, when I write something, I physically feel it. And when I speak, I don't necessarily physically feel it. I feel more like a vessel. And it's just an expedient way to write. So, I mean, I'm still feeling everything, don't get me wrong. It's just more fluid. And I like it because I think really at this point my personality self can just vacate a little bit more all the time, and just like the real deal comes out. But I don't have to have the accent no mo. So anyway, it's been like that. And yesterday, I've discovered my my magical park again. Yay! And yesterday I was across the street, and then they were talking to me the whole time. And I got to the park, and they said, now the magic can start. And I was met by a legion of dragonflies. And I understood that those are beings. And I know a representative of that tribe. And they told me that they were a protective guard. And they explained to me that nature, much like crystal and water, which I've been working with a lot lately, and song, many of these things are, well, they're kind of like time machines. But, well, I asked the dragonflies if they would deliver a message for me. If they would go mess with somebody and have and play, and deliver like giggles, and a message that of so much love and a happiness, just a happiness. Would you do that? And they said, well, yeah, consider it done. And they're everywhere. So, you know, it's a collective. So if you ask them to do it in Denver, they can do it in Minnesota. You know, just like crystals, but crystals hold information long term. And water, water is a horse of a different color. But it also has that property. So This morning, the very first thing I got, ooh, is there's a tone. There's a tone that runs through things that for me are real. And I was shown so many examples of Bach and poetry and doing a nursing intervention just perfectly. Prayer, sacred texts, really contemplating something in nature, really getting into it. There's a tone. There's a tone inside my own soul. There's a tone. I really like that. It was really pretty. But I've had others, and oh my God, I've had so many others. But about a week ago, again, before I even opened my eyes, I was kind of instructed not to open my eyes. Just lay there. Just lay there. And I got visited. And I feel really weird about talking about it because it seems so childish, so simple. This really long, golden thing approached me. And I knew it to be God. And I knew it to be more male than female, which really surprised me. And I was really okay with that. And it really surprised me too. And it was so happy. It was just so happy. And it came over. And it visited me. And then it was wispy and it was within me. And I said, yeah, it's of course, come on. And it said, it was so personal. And it was so happy to be me. It kept saying that. And it was so genuinely happy. And it felt honored to be me. Not be inside me or see. It did say it's wonderful to see through your eyes. Do you remember? And I did. There have been a few times when I felt that there was someone looking through my eyes. It wasn't me. And the joy and the exhilaration and the shock and the wonder of it was biologic. Yeah, I remember. And just like, I don't know, sometimes it still hits me. God is so cool and so happy. And it really, really digs me. And is really happy to be me. And I laid there on the bed and felt all this, and there were words that came. And I realized all this time, this sentence that would just, I don't know, send shivers into my soul. It's real. It's true. God indwells me and is well pleased wow, it's real. It's been phenomenal, and that image has, I've worked with that a lot, and I've seen myself as I keep seeing myself as this lava. It's really intense, so I saw me as this beautiful, coursing, fiery volcano, and then I saw God over there going la 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 la, because the rivulets are kind of like that, but they're like golden. And then I saw them match in the middle or merge in the middle, and I saw, wow, my tableau is quite scorched and all busted up. And here's this other that's so sweet and soft. Because what I had seen is had been running this beautiful, beautiful red orange energy. And then in the space of that meditation, I saw the energy change to this crackling white light, and the lines change from a more natural distribution to a real straight one with this crackling white light. And then when God came along and merged the two realities, because here's the lava land and here's the go, and when those rivulets came with my rivulets, and then they explained that water is actually cosmic blood, and I have cosmic blood inside of me because I have water in my blood, and we all have cosmic blood inside of us. And it's this cosmic blood that can light on fire with this beautiful white fire. And so I was coached, you can kind of mellow that white stuff out, because that just drives people crazy. That just turns them mental. So how about if you calm that down a little bit, girly? And so I saw the lava flow, and it's so flowy, and that light is so gentle, and I was able to kind of put that softness into that white light, and so, oh, that's better. So my work lately has been, okay, I want to give you an example. The best example I know of this is in a Dolores Cannon book, where somebody's doing a QHHT session. So they have a past life that comes up, and then the person dies. And it's a little fellow who got tricked by conquistadors and led the conquistadors away from the village, but got killed in the process. And so that it always goes that the therapist says, okay, so once the death happens and the person's outside the body, the person's asked, so every life has a purpose. So what was the purpose of that life? And the person, freshly dead, said, well, it was to push past my fears. And it's to be more aware of betrayal and trickery. Because had I known, I wouldn't have done that. And later in the session, the SC comes out, or the oversoul, or what have you. And the same question is asked, so, what about that life? And it wasn't no. The oversoul said, well, sometimes you're up against odds that you can't win, and the only thing you can do is to lessen the harm to others. And so that's what was done. Whoa, that's intense. So when you see that there's different, you can mine into different depths and gain different understandings from a life, well, you can apply that to your own. How about that? Isn't that the idea? And So I've been working at that level for several days, and it's really. I'd love one day to write a book about this experience. I think that it's book worthy, all on its own, but it can't be discussed or written about. So, except peripherally, what I can say is that I realized that I had made an agreement in this lifetime. There's a few things that make sense. One of them, just looking back, is that I think that as a group, I gathered everyone together and I said, here's a deal with me. I love all of you. I think you're all, I wouldn't be playing with you unless I thought you were awesome this life. And because you're so cool, you have a special task with me. You ready? Okay, when I ask for something, when I'm specific, when I want something, give me a hard time. If you see me heading down the road and I'm really going at a clip, feel free to throw a dagger and deflate a tire. If you see me resting before a big trip, and it's going to be great, it's going to be good for me, feel free to go out there and deflate my tires. Make it hard for me. Humiliate me. Torture me. Imprison me. Rape me. Violate me. Try to make me go crazy. With invalidity and silent pain. Do it. Turn on the juice. When I want something, don't give it to me. The understanding is what I need, I will always get. So I'm fine. Go. I realized that it was a simple energetic. When I say I want something, that's when it for sure goes to shit. What? And I set that up. Why? There's only one thing that matters around here. It's going inside, going inside, going inside. It doesn't matter what goes on out there. What matters is what's inside, what's inside, what's inside. So I changed things. And what I did, I mentioned it, I did an energetic thing, and it was like, it scared me because it was like so physically intense, and it felt so good. And it's taken, I would say, a series of 5, 6 really, really big, like, life pinnacle ones. And you can go to the park and sit on a bench to do it. It doesn't take more than 5-10 minutes. It's not like you spend all day in the ashram to get there. For me, so I'm not saying that I spend 24 hours a day in meditation in a trance. Not like that at all. I'm quite functional. So getting back to it, boy oh boy oh boy, did I get down to brass tacks. And so I've been working with it with everybody, and me too, and my guides, and my friends, and everybody. When I say I want something, you're gonna give it to me. I'm gonna get it. And I tested that out yesterday, and it works. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. The reign of terror is over. Because I realized along the way that it's the life and death stuff that I just simply don't resonate with. I was a hospice nurse. I know damn well there's very little in this life that is life and death. I was a regular nurse. I know a thing or two about people crumping They look fine 1 minute, boom, the next, it's time to get out the paddles. The thing is that, you know, the crisis passes and it's time for lunch. There's no such thing as life and death. And I realize that in my consciousness, there's been this really quite uninvited, involuntary setup and requirement that everything's life and death, right and wrong, pass or play. It's like, wow, that's not how I roll. Not at all. And that's not mine. And I finally realized I'm powerful enough to change it. So I changed it. And everybody won, finally. And nobody was hurt. And nobody felt fear. It's this very, very long-standing, life meditation. I changed the very structure of it. And the mountain that it used to take place on, that also, the structure of the mountain changed. And the feeling of that whole setup is just so good. And I feel so just and wise and listened to and honored. And it was me who did that for me by changing my insides. And I have the proof yesterday. Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was really a great time. It was such a blessing. So there's been a lot that is unfortunately hard to capture on tape because I let it roll. And I guess that it just was such it's abundant time. I have reviewed some of my other tapes because I feel a sense of legitimacy that I didn't feel before. It's kind of hard when, as a writer, you don't get a lot of play. It's like, your function is to share. And so for me to get to be able to share this work is just, it makes me feel like, again, like I got a ping. I got my return. I feel so blessed and so happy. And then to get all this information, which sort of sets me free from not only life circumstances, but also a history and a trajectory. It is true that when you change the past, you're changing the future, but it's not really either of those that's being changed. It's the perceiver. And it's the significance of the events, the meaning assigned, and the meaning of about self that we gain as a result of events, perceptions of events. That's what changes. The perceiver changes, not the events, not timelines. The participant. So I want to mention about the Mandela effect because I think it's very interesting. Mostly because that can really freak people out, especially when it's about the Bible and everything. I do want to mention there is a little there's a little clue in that Bible. I've mentioned it one other time. There's a book in that Bible that has a curse. It's the only one I'm aware of. And it's quite a strong admonition. Hands off, you little minions. Don't you change one word of this, or it's not going to end very good for you. I know that kind of curse. And it's on the book of the Revelation. And I'm going to ask you a question now that you know a little bit more about the Mandela effect. Just why would in that holy book there be like an Egyptian curse, a fly on your house if you open this mummy's tomb. Don't you dare change a word in this book, or I'm gonna come get you. Well, it seems to me somebody knew there'd be some monkey business, don't you? Think that might be possible? The evidence is right there. Why else would somebody say that? Hey, don't be changing this book. No words. Don't be messing with. Come on. So that's why I'm thinking with the Mandela effect. I don't think it should freak you out if you're aware of it. You want to know why? Well, if you're aware of it, it means you're aware of it. There's a meta message here. Because what's the alternative? You can be in one or the other, or you can be aware of it. And you, my dear, are aware of it. What you do with it and how you assign meaning to it, well, that's your business. For today, perhaps it's just enough to realize that you are aware of the Mandela effect. Soak that in. Maybe that's the message. Oh my. So, I'm going to go over to my magical place. It's really nice to be hooked back on with nature. It's really fun. They talk to me a lot. Everything talks to me. And that, oh my God. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the dragonflies and then I'll go. So the dragonflies came and they were really sweet and they were just like standing watch. And I finally said, I know you guys have got other things to do, so if you want to just leave, you can. It's really cool. I'm really glad that you're around me, but you don't have to stay on my account. And they stayed there. And then they said, well, you don't understand. This is our honor. We're very happy to do this. It's kind of what we do. And it makes us happy. So just let it be. And then I decided that I wanted to walk a little bit, and they walked with me. And there was one about every 2 feet. As I walked up the sidewalk, I would get to the sidewalk and I'd get to a dragon. I'd look down at the dragonfly and say thank you, and they'd fly away. And I'd look up and there's another one about 2 feet away. I'd walk up to that and I'd say thank you, and it would fly away. And then there'd be another one. They were all electric blue, like an indigo electric blue. And then I decided I wanted to go to the creek, and as I got there, the dragonflies went away. And I said, this is making me nervous because I really was enjoying that. And they said, well, just take a look around. And there were all these fluffs from the trees. And I've always, those are consciousness. They're fun. They're like little UFOs. They do weird things. There's anomalies galore with those things. So I'm looking at them. And I'm told, yeah, well, you think that there's only one kind of magic? Depending on your energy, depending on the energy of the environment, different elements come out. But you're never alone. And so now we're here, and this is our place. We dig this. We dig this place by the water. So then I was led back to the water, and right over it, standing over it, and they said, what happened to you in the bathtub where you're pulsing this beautiful thing into the water for everyone? Well, you're doing that all the time now, dear. Just by standing here, you're blessing the water, and it's going to everywhere. And it's part of the earth now. Isn't that pretty? And so many people are doing that, and they're blessing the water and turning the water beautiful. And so then I decided to go up again, and there the dragonflies took over. And I still was worried, oh no, you're going to go away. No, and they wouldn't go away. They were steadfast. They were right there, right there, right there, right there. But then I got to the edge of the park, and they said, well, this is where it stops. And I realized when I got out of the park and looked, the park is lined with electronic fence. I love that. It's like it's keeping the magic in. It's like, ooh, that's all right with me. But there is a barrier. And I'm still in the park, and I say, now what happens? Now what happens? Oh no. But they've been coaching me since the water, when I was standing about the water. Because they explain, that God thing that made me feel so happy. Oh, God is so happy, and God is so happy to be me. Woo, this is so fun. Well, sometimes that has to be your magic. We can't support you all the time. We can't be visible all the time. Some places are just too rough. And it's not appropriate for us to be there. And you've got to remember. And that's what this is all about. You have cosmic blood coursing through you. You have diamond light in the water of your blood. So you can conjure your own magic. You can call us anytime. You have to remember that you are creating it. You are the originator of it. And that was really the lesson the next few hours, was conjuring it, feeling it, invoking it, remembering it. And so it's just so amazing for me to realize my energetic signature, because they said at the very beginning, here's the reason for the eye of the needle. Because I was surrounded by all this group of people, the big ones. And I said, hey, where's Saint Germain? I want to talk to Archangel Michael. Who's here? And they said, you don't know us like that. Their faces were flashing, and each flash was a lifetime. And they kind of chuckled, you don't know us like that. You know us by energetic signature. And the whole reason for the eye of the needle is for you to learn your energetic signature. And I thought for a while that was zodiacal and whatever, I didn't know. And I realized, oh, it's that. I'm so happy. I'm so carefree. I'm so genuinely happy. And just like that Godhead I saw, just like the lava I see all of these rivers feeding in and leading out from this node of happiness. The Sekhmet, Antares, Shiva, Cryon, the Jesus group, all whale energy, all Cygnus, all of it. Beautiful, pristine, backed up with documentation, astrology, numerology, anecdotal evidence, shared reality. It's all there. It's not a lie. And yet, I am that I am that I am. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be looking through these eyes. I'm happy. I'm happy. Of course, when I ask for what I want, I'm going to get it. Of course. The overlays fall. The coating breaks. The DNA spins free. And the funny thing is, with this story, all this stuff happened long ago and was refined and refined and refined from 12 forward or 11 forward. And I kept thinking I was going to get my reward finally if I did it right. It had already been done for me. I knew to set it up that way. I had set it up that way. So it's really been a beautiful time of just sort of like, no harm, no foul. That was one lifetime, now we're moving on to a different one. And the rules are different. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like. I don't think it really matters that much. So, anyway, I hope that helps you and makes you happy. Namaste.